Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I do not make any warranties to its accuracy, applicability, or completeness. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice. Always seek the advice of a qualified health provider. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of any information presented here. I disclaim all liability to any party for direct, indirect, implied, punitive, special, incidental, or other consequential damages arising directly or indirectly from its use. Hey guys, Paul here with another video. Today we're going to talk about how much gear do pro bodybuilders really take. Before we get started, please take the time to subscribe to my channel and like my video. It's the best way you can show your appreciation for all this awesome free content I'm putting out there. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to argue with me about how wrong I am, please put them in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer each and every one of them. If you want to get in contact with me, my contact information is in the video description. I am at Paul K. Barnett on Instagram, and you can also email me at bigp3rd@gmail.com. So, how much gear do pro bodybuilders really take? I've talked to quite a few guys. I've been around this shit for 30 years now. I know a couple pro bodybuilders. I've worked with several coaches that work with tons of pro bodybuilders. I'm not saying I'm the be-all, end-all expert, but I've been around long enough to have a good feel of what guys are doing and what guys aren't doing. And I'm not saying that this is the law of the land, but this is just generally what I've seen and what I've heard from dudes and know from guys that I trust. This is typically what you'll see with your average pro bodybuilder. There are some guys that use less. There are some guys that use more. I know dudes that knew Dexter Jackson, and from what I understand, he used very, very minimal amounts of gears, like embarrassingly low amounts of gear compared to what you're probably a lot of guys on the local level are using. But he had superior genetics. And he had been doing this for years. And some people are just super responders. I see a lot of dudes accuse these guys of lying about how much they take. And I'm not disputing that there are some dudes that just outright are lying about what they're on. But there are guys that have superior genetics. I saw a study recently where I don't quote me on the exact number, but where they tested a group of people on response to exogenous androgens, and there was almost a 60% variability in response rate and muscle protein synthesis between the various groups of candidates that were in the test. So that gives you some, and I think the variability might even be even more based on unique genetic individuality. I see it with guys that come to me that I help with training. There's some guys that, barely taking anything and they're fucking massive. And I have other guys that are running shit tons of gear that don't look like they really have ever trained. And so the human body is very unique and varied in genetic capability for muscle growth. So keep that in mind. With that said, on average, I'd say the average pro bodybuilder, when they're blasting for contest prep or for their off-season size phase, most guys are running somewhere between 2 and 3 grams of total gear when they're trying to put on size. Like I said, some less. I'd say 3 being on the high end, 2 probably being where most guys are at. That seems to be the optimal range for gaining size. Now, with steroids and PEDs, there is a curve, and you can see it in studies where you go up. Certainly, the more you take, the more you're going to gain, but there is a curve where it starts to bend back the other way. It's you reach a point of toxicity, that this would be my speculation, and that the body can't be in a hypertrophic state when you're sick. If you're too sick to eat, you're too sick to train, you're not going to gain muscle. So you have to find that sweet spot where you can put on muscle. Now, I am not saying I'm not saying that, Jim Bro, who's only been training for a year, that's 80 pounds away from his genetic potential, should be taking 2 to 3 grams of gear. Absolutely fucking not. You have not gotten to the point where you do that. It is a progressive thing. It's like saying I'm going to go into the gym tomorrow and bench 500 pounds. I'm going to break if I do that. Okay. If I'm a new guy, it's going to be the same thing if you go in and take that amount of gear. But I will tell you that is something that you work up to over a period of time, and that's generally where I see where guys end up at. And usually they're running some sort of testosterone base with an anabolic. There are certainly outliers that take more. There are certainly outliers that take less, but I would say that is somewhere in the range of the total amount of load that you will see. That I'm just speculating here, but from what the guys I've talked to are somewhere in that range. I'd say that's where you're pushing the limits of growth versus health consequences. That's right on the edge of where that lies. You're in the territory of where you push much further, you're going to have some serious health consequences. You may even at the lower doses. It's think about it in terms of people who drink and smoke their whole life. There's some people that can hammer cigarettes and beer their whole life, and they never get sick. They just keep going. And there's that other person that can smoke a couple cigarettes, smoke a couple cigars, and end up with fucking lung cancer when they're 55. Some of it's just shit luck, bad genetics. We're all unique. We're all individual. But like I said, that 2 to 3 total grams of load is usually where you see most pros end up at. Now you're working your way up there. I'm warning you again. I've seen people. I've had people reach out to me that are taking that much when they're weighing 185 pounds. My question for you is, if you're taking that much right now and you're running all sorts of harsh compounds, what the hell you're going to do when you're trying to get past 200 up to 220? When you're trying to get to 220 to 240, what are you going to take then? 10 grams? It's just not going to work for you. You're going to kill yourself. So you take what you need to take to get the job done. No more is my experience. And there is a time to push down the gas pedal if you're trying to be a pro bodybuilder. If you're just a gym bro, don't do it. It's not worth it. You're just taking unnecessary risk for no additional benefit. All right, guys, that's all I got for you on this one. Take care.